Hey, how can we live with more freedom and maintain a free society in which freedom is cherished and respected and used for good? Is the responsible exercise of freedom for good purpose necessary for the viability of a free society? Friend, thanks for joining in today's Freedom Challenge. Please accept the challenge to engage and reflect and comment and respond. Do we need to consider that freedom comes with responsibility? Well, let's dive in. Must we choose to use our freedom for good purpose to preserve our right to the freedoms that we have? And if we agree that freedom is endowed, given by our Creator, it appears to be a free gift that we can receive and walk in. But will we also agree that freedom is not free from responsibility? Many, if not all, of the freedoms that we enjoy in the U.S. and in many parts of the world were secured and protected and preserved by people who were willing to dedicate and sacrifice everything they had, their honor, their possessions, their effort, and even their lives. We may think of Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King Jr., or the many, many, many brave men and women who have fought on the front lines to defend and preserve freedom. Now, it's been said that freedom is not free. Can we agree that freedom does come with a price? Responsibility. And at a minimum, that we use our freedom in a way that does no harm to others or take away the rights and freedoms of others. Let's consider what 4 influential authors wrote about freedom and responsibility. First, Nelson Mandela. He wrote, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others," pointing out the responsibility in freedom. And the scripture author Paul wrote in Galatians chapter 5, "You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love," calling us to a high responsibility and freedom. And Peter Marshall wrote, "May we think of freedom not as the right to do as we please, but as the opportunity to do what is right." And consider what John Locke wrote centuries ago as one of the founders of modern thinking about freedom. "All men by nature are equal in that equal right that every man hath to his natural freedom, without being subjected to the will or authority of any other man. Being all equal and independent, no one ought to harm another in his life, health, liberty, or possessions." So he reflected on the natural freedoms that we have and the rights that we have and the responsibilities to not harm another in their life, health, liberty, or possessions by the exercise of our freedoms. Friend, does our pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness resemble more of selfish or selfless? Are we more interested in gaining freedom only for ourselves, or in ensuring and extending freedom for all? And is there freedom to be anyone we choose to be? Is there freedom to do anything we choose to do? Or are there guiding principles and values within which we exercise our freedoms, so that our exercise of freedom does good for us and good for those around us? So in our quest for freedom, is there also a need for the responsible use of freedom, so that we can have more freedom, and so that the authorities, whatever authorities they are, will not find valid rationale for restricting our freedom due to the misuse or abuse of freedom? So let's consider a few of those responsibilities. Is one of the key responsibilities of freedom to live and work for the preservation of freedom for all? Is how we use our freedom to vote a primary and essential aspect of that responsibility? Now, I'll plan to examine diligence and vigilance for freedom a bit more in a future episode. And what about higher and persisting freedoms, like personal and spiritual and emotional and other freedoms? What responsibility will we accept to share the freedoms that each of us has found with those who are still bound in the ways that we were once bound? Hey, thanks so much for engaging today's Freedom Challenge. These are my questions and thoughts and selected references. What do you think? Please share your comments. And please check out the other days of the Freedom Challenge and reflect and respond. And most of all, stand forever free.